Hello there YouTube, this is RedFox468. Before we begin, get out a piece of paper, some pencil, eraser, pens, whatever. Oh, sorry, it's not focusing. Focus, okay. So, get out a piece of paper and so we can begin drawing this, artistic work. So, let's zoom in here and, begin the lesson. Now, as you may know, I fixed my computer. Um, so thankfully it wasn't something drastic, but yeah. Uh, so the last video I worked on, the last video I put up of drawing, were realistic tips that there are no lines in realistic drawings and stuff. That is true. So what I'm gonna do is kind of guide you get into a certain realistically, somewhat realistic point, just to a certain point, because that's as far as I can help you. From there on, you just have to practice and find out new things. So let's just start with an eye. It's pretty much the basic thing. So you don't want to do this. It's not recommended. Not all eyes are like this. If you're gonna draw somebody, make sure you have a picture of them and lightly. That's the key. Lightly copy it down. So basically, let's pretend we had an eye here. So I'm gonna be lightly drawing it out. I should probably make this bigger. So I'm gonna be lightly drawing it out. So I'm holding the back of the pencil so that I won't put too much pressure onto the pencil. So to create a nice light sketch. But as you can see, it's lightly. I did this lightly, and that's a key factor. You have to make it light, not make it dark. Start with light. Start drawing lightly. It's a key factor. You know what? Let's drop in a circle here, indicating where the eye is gonna be. Well, where the eye is actually, and right over here. Pretty sure you have noticed, but you have a little flap of skin inside there. I want to get that in there. Now these are just sketches. Pretend you're sketching really, really light, and that's what you're trying to get to. Now, later on, if you have a finer pencil or a mechanical pencil, you can actually add some thickness to this line. Let me zoom in a little bit. There we go. Smooth zoom in there. See. And the top layer, you want to kind of darken that in a little bit, because it's not just one single line. Of course, this is more like a shade, and I'm just trying to get you to a certain type of realistic, not super high detailed realistic, out of ordinary, like wow, but just regular to a certain point. Not fully realistic, but somewhere where you can work on and build on from that. So now that we have that one, and I'm gonna actually go over this with a light indication of the eyelid, following the path of this line. Probably add a bit more. See, little things like this, and you know, I'm gonna add a little. I'm gonna add a highlight here. Of course, highlights will not be like this, but for just now, can we just keep it like this? Let's pretend there's a big old manga style highlight on it. I said I'm just gonna get you to the basic. So here's the pupil, and we can darken this in. I'm not going to, I'm just going with lightly. The occasion that this is gonna be darkened, we're gonna darken it later. Now of course, if you want help in other more details like fingers, nails, or stuff like that, you have to let me know in the comment section below, or else I'm not gonna do it. Seriously, I don't want to waste time making these videos just for things that you guys won't be interested in. So please, if you want to learn something, it's the time to ask. What I'm doing here is I'm actually just adding a few lines coming out of the eye, going around it, giving that sense of depth. You know, sometimes you'll find a little darker spot here, so when you add a few of those darker spots, let's add a dark line right here and here. Make it abnormal, make it organic. There you go. And as you can see, we're achieving a certain type of realism. Not completely, but certain. And then you know what, I'm gonna split this in two. The two highlights are gonna be here, one here and one here. Probably a third one here, so I'm gonna shade a little bit here to get that highlight going. I'm gonna darken that in later on. So as you can see, pretty good, pretty simple, right? Oh, let's go in and see, darken it a little bit more. And let's shade it in. In steps in doing in realistic drawings, you want to start lightly, extremely lightly, and from that you add more darkness to it. So for example, you're doing I don't know, an eye. You start light, really light, even the parts that are supposed to be pitch black. But we won't get to that. You have to start lightly. It's a little good thing to do, and it helps so that you won't have to erase a mistake. So, for example, if you're using charcoal, oh boy, you're gonna have one big load of trouble there. Trust me. Now that we got a few little guidelines in there, I'm gonna actually get a color pencil, regular color pencil, anything will work. I'm gonna start darkening it in here. I want to show that there's actually thickness to this eyelid. It's not flat. But I'm gonna darken it a bit more, just to separate this and this. Probably gonna go in here. I really want to rotate this. I'm gonna rotate it a little bit, sorry. Just trying to get to that angle. Here we go. And we're gonna now jet black shade this thing. Black, as black as you can get. Dark, really dark. One thing to note about graphite, which is just any regular pencil, is that it gives out a kind of a graphite shine. It gives out a shine when light is pointed to it, and also kind of a bit of on color pencils because it's because it's wax. Wax. Yeah. And so when you're dealing with this stuff, it's not a good idea to go in dark with graphite. Never a good idea. Well, in realistic, or in actually anything. Graphite is used mainly for light shading. What I use graphite for is to get the skin texture, the skin texture, the skin tone in there. That's what I use the graphite for. What we can also do is kind of shade the top a little bit, just a bit, just to give it that feeling that light is coming from above. Now this is not gonna be complete realistic, as I said. It's just to a certain point that I want to get to. It's not recommended, but use anything else to shade and not your finger. But in this case, I'm gonna use my finger to smooth out a few stuff here. We're gonna erase these lines that we made here. As I told you, there's absolutely no lines in realistic drawings. Of course, in this one there is going to be, because it's not fully realistic. It is not. Doesn't mean that there's not going to be any dark places somewhere in your drawings, but try to make them look more like a shade. It's a bit confusing, I know. There we go. We got to a certain point, right? But now that we got that done, it's just something simple. Nothing special. I mean, we can probably go around and shade a bit more over here, whatever. Just add a little bit of graphite somewhere around here, and get your finger and start putting some shading in there. Shading is quite important, actually, very important. It can define the differences. You know what? I believe that this eye actually has a really dark, somewhat here. And as you can see, I'm leaving it as a shade. When I go in, I kind of take out the lines a bit, taking out the shade here. Here's where the nose is gonna be. If you can notice it a little bit. So it's that the shading will actually give you that depth and feeling. But simple little eye. Actually, this doesn't actually look how I wanted it, but something small, something simple, because realism, it does take a long while. It's like, super long. Okay, so I don't even have the time to even do that, to show a complete video like that. So excuse me. So if you want to learn how to draw something, let me know in the comment section below, and I will respond to it. I will make a video to try to help you and everyone who might be going through the same problems. But for right now, for next 2 weekends, because if you really want to get into realism, 2 weekends, 2 weeks will be fine, will be good. Practice on textures. Find stuff around your house, find stuff on the internet, whatever, wood, rocks, something, and try to copy that texture, because texture is probably the thing that you really want to learn how to draw. That. So thank you for watching. Please leave a like, comment, rate, and subscribe. It'll be greatly appreciated. So remember to leave a comment in the comment section below. And I'll be seeing you in my next video. But until next time, sayonara.